boxes and circles in the air with cool designs.
Oh. Hey moviegoers, let's talk Doctor Strange. And just a warning, we are going to be talking spoilers, so you have been warned.
This movie was directed by Scott Dickerson, and it stars Benedict Cumberbatch, Tilda Swinton, Mads Mikkelsen, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and Rachel McAdams.
When neurosurgeon Dr. Stephen Strange gets in a near-fatal accident when he was texting and driving on a curvy road, and after all these procedures and surgeries that are used to try and bring back the feeling and heal his body, he kind of gives up on Western medicine and travels east to find this spiritual place where he learns how to do magic, and he becomes intertwined in this spiritual war.
So I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was yet another fun Marvel movie where it didn't take itself too seriously, and the characters were likable. They had enough of a complex plot that you could get into and enjoy, and it still surprised you at times. It was still a little predictable at times, and I just thought it was well balanced, and I enjoyed watching it.
I kind of feel like at this point Marvel can't really do anything wrong. I mean, when they've had successes with Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a completely ridiculous idea to have a talking tree, a talking raccoon, and why not a wizard type of thing. This movie really reminded me, or it kind of was a mix of Inception, Harry Potter, and Green Lantern, all in a good way.
I think Marvel takes those odd characters that may not be very well liked in the masses. People like them, I'm sure, from the comics and all of that, but as far as a bunch of people, I think Marvel really takes those characters and just makes them cool while still being true to the actual characters and the storyline of the comics.
In the beginning of the movie, you kind of don't like Doctor Strange. He's kind of an arrogant jerk, and even when, after he's gotten in the accident, he's just kind of like, who did the surgery? And they're like, they did the best they could, and he's like, I could have done better. And it's like, you don't really feel bad for him at that point. You're like, well, you know what? You kind of deserve it, you jerk. But after a while, you start to warm up to him, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of Iron Man, where he starts out arrogant, he learns the errors of his ways, and he becomes humble, and he does some good.
I think, though, the twist is that, he is still, I thought he was still likable in the beginning. The way they brought Rachel McAdams' character into it, she was able to make him likable, because she obviously still is in love with him throughout the whole thing. She's the support system that he needs. He knows he needs her, but he's still able to portray that arrogant, selfish, egotistical doctor.
And what I like about the beginning of this movie, it did seem a little slow, but after a while, I felt like I was watching a drama and not a comic book movie, and I actually appreciated that, because I feel like we're all getting kind of comic book movie fatigue, and for them to take a different approach at the beginning and make it very character-driven was a good approach.
It wasn't until almost the very end of the movie that he's really come into his own abilities. Even though he's still cocky, he knows he doesn't know everything, which is what drives him to become Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And what drives him to excel and to be doing good because he's doing good. And I really think that they tapped into that with Tilda Swinton's character with him is, he is arrogant, but it's a selfless arrogance.
Yeah.
Where he is trying to be the best so that he can help others. I mean, that was what first drove him to become a doctor, and now he's using that, and Tilda Swinton is tapping into that in order to make him excel as Doctor Strange.
Yeah. And as a villain, Mads Mikkelsen, Marvel's always kind of struggled with their villains, and this one isn't a very memorable villain. He just kind of gets taken away at the very end, and he does a little bit, but not enough to really make him memorable. I mean, I think the only memorable villains that they've had is Loki, and I can't really think of any others, really.
I think one of the harder things to chew on in this movie was all of the little jargon, like magical jargon that they used when they're talking about different things. I had a little bit of trouble following what they were actually talking about. When Mads Mikkelsen's character was like, you lost your, I can't even remember the name.
The sling ring?
The sling ring.
Yeah.
I was like, really? And it was hard to follow all that, and like the motions were cool. The special effects were amazing.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Like, I was totally blown away. Every single scene had something that I was just, oh my goodness, it was awesome.
In particular, the mirror dimension scenes, when they're running around and they're messing with the reality or the visual continuity of everything. It was kind of like watching an action scene through a kaleidoscope. It was very disorienting, but cool at the same time.
So Doctor Strange, once he's learned the things he needs to learn, and once he's ready to have his relic choose him, his relic is the cloak of levitation, and it reminded me of the magic carpet from Aladdin.
Yeah.
It's cool, the fact that his cape is a character, and it's able to help him with his becoming Doctor Strange. But I kind of loved and hated the fact that it reminded me of the magic carpet. It was like the movements of it reflected that a little bit. And maybe it's just because it's Disney. It's like, hey, let's go back to this, and the magic carpet's going to look out for him.
The comedy in this movie was, for the most part, really well done. Some of it was subtle, some of it was right in your face. In particular, the part with the cloak of levitation when he's trying to go after the axe and it's pulling him back, like, no, don't go after that, go after this thing back here. It was like that body cage thing that he throws on Mads Mikkelsen, but that was a little too drawn out. It lasted for like 5-10 seconds. I'm like, okay, he would have already attacked by now, but whatever. I love the relationship between the two Benedicts. Benedict Wong, who plays Wong, and Doctor Strange. Benedict Wong is the librarian, and he's basically like in charge of the books, and he tells Doctor Strange that he's not allowed to read certain books, and there's this scene where Doctor Strange keeps opening up these portals behind him, and he keeps taking books out, and he takes another book, and it was funny, but it went on a little too long.
I still think it was well played.
Yeah.
And again, it just makes it fun. I was actually quite impressed with Benedict Cumberbatch's accent.
Yeah.
I went into the movie expecting, oh, I hope he can do this all right, because I'm so used to him being Khan from Star Trek with his amazing British accent.
Or Sherlock.
And I was interested to see how he would be able to pull off the American accent, especially the arrogant American accent, and he did really well. I think there are times though when the accent sort of disappears, and you kind of go, what? But then it's back, and he did a really good job. I loved it.
So Doctor Strange learns of the ability to manipulate time with this certain relic, and we find out that it's because of an Infinity Stone within it. It's the Time Infinity Stone, and Doctor Strange initially uses it to find out what page Caecilius, Mads Mikkelsen's character, ripped out of a book, and this is to basically harness the dark power and summon Dormammu and help him just devour the earth. And when I initially saw Dormammu, I thought it was Thanos because he had kind of a purple face, and I was like, oh cool, he's got a different name. That's cool. They're bringing him into this movie too because there's an Infinity Stone. What better way to bring Thanos into another movie? But I was a little disappointed that it wasn't, but we don't know the comic, so I had no idea who Dormammu was.
So let's talk about the end credit scene. I love how they brought Thor into it and seeing Doctor Strange sitting down to tea with Thor and then explaining to him, basically threatening him to make sure that Loki is not going to get into trouble because now Doctor Strange is the master of the New York base.
Yeah.
And I just love how he talks to Thor as if, you know, like he's got nothing on him.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And I really like the chemistry between Chris Hemsworth and Benedict Cumberbatch. I think it works really well, and it made me so much more excited to see the next movie.
They are starting to just combine characters into other characters' movies, and the Hulk is already going to be in it, so now we got Doctor Strange, and it's just getting better and better.
Right. So I give Doctor Strange a B. I really, really, really liked it. Not as much as some other movies, but it was enjoyable, and I really loved the acting and the character development and the overall plot. It was just really good, and it made me more excited for the rest of the Marvel universe.
Yeah. As an introductory story to this character and kind of a discovery of his powers, this movie does pretty well. It's one of the better introductory stories in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I give Doctor Strange a B+, and there were a few things that could have been better, but overall it's a really enjoyable movie, great special effects, great acting, and I'm excited to see Doctor Strange in more movies, collaboration movies, and hopefully more Doctor Strange movies because it's just going to be exciting.
So we want to know what you guys think. Did you like it, love it, or hate it? Let us know in the comment section below.
And if you like this video and you want to see more movie reviews, you can click right here.
Or if you'd like to see our trailer breakdowns, you can click here. Or you can click here to subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.